What is going on, everybody? We got another wrestling tier list for you today. It is currently Sunday. I am probably on my way, if not getting ready to be on my way to NXT Great American Bash. Let's go. It seems like it's going to be a good show. Maybe there'll be some videos on the channel about it. But since I'm going to an NXT event, let's look over all of the NXT champions from the beginning where Rollins won the title in that tournament, and to the current champion, him, Carmelo Hayes. You see them all down here. We're gonna place them on this tier list. We got best, great, fine, meh, and just plain old bad. Pretty bad. Let's kick it off with the first ever champion. We have Seth freaking Rollins before the architect, before the whatever, but he was the future, you can't lie. First ever NXT champion. I wasn't watching NXT back in that day. This was, he won it in August, and a few months later, he would be like Seth Rollins of the Shield. They would form the Shield. So, as soon as the Shield was formed, he kind of dropped it to Big E. First champion, I'm going to put him in fine. Like I said, I started watching NXT probably about right when the network launched, maybe a couple months after the network launched, so like mid-2014, I guess. So I didn't see Rollins, Big E, and a small chunk of Bo Dallas's reign. But yeah, we're gonna put Rollins in fine, because he's the first ever champion, I don't know, but I don't know for sure. We're gonna move on to Big E. I don't think Big E had that, his reign was longer than Rollins. I have WWE's website up right now. I'm looking at the days they held the title. Rollins held it for 133. Big E held it for 153. I guess, I don't know, man. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of don't know, and I feel bad to judge. But, throughout NXT's history, if there's been some memorable moments, WWE posts about him. And I don't think Big E really did much with the NXT title, I'm gonna say. I can't recall a single thing, but that's probably just my judgment. He did hold it longer than Rollins, just because I don't know, and I don't want to be like, oh, Big E sucked. He sucked as NXT champion. I'm going to put him in fine with Rollins. But now we can get to Bo Dallas. Won the title. He held it 260 days, and he lost it to Adrian Neville at the first NXT show on the network, NXT Arrival, in that ladder match. Bo Dallas was getting obnoxious toward the end of his reign. The Bo leave, and the fans weren't liking him. But he held that title for quite a while, and he was pretty decent at it. I'd say top of fine, maybe very bottom of great for Bo Dallas. So yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to put Rollins and Big E in meh, just because, I'm sorry, I don't know. But I doubt they were bad, but I just don't think anything super eventful probably happened in that title reign, or both of their reigns. Now we have Adrian Neville. We're going to put this man in great. Bo Dallas going top of fine. Adrian Neville is going in great. The man that Gravity forgot won that title in that ladder match. Held it for nearly a year. Not really, about like 100 days off of a year. But Fatal 4-Way, defended against Tyson Kidd numerous times. In that Fatal 4-Way, Tyson Kidd was there, as well as Tyler Breeze and Sami Zayn. He had that rivalry, or not really rivalry, but that kind of slight feud with Zayn, where he's like, toward the end, maybe you just can't do it, Zayn. And then they had that takeover match at our Evolution, I believe it was. It was really, really good. Adrian Neville, he was a defending champion too. I know he defended against RVD at one point, even Brodus Clay, I think. So, he kept busy. I don't want to say he put NXT on the map because, it's whatever, but he did win at the first show they aired on the network, or their first, event. So I guess, they saw something in him, and I see something in him, as in, I think he's really freaking cool, and he's going in great. And now we have Sami Zayn, NXT champion. His reign did not last very long, because right after he won the title, he was attacked by Kevin Owens. Immediately, they hopped into that feud. Sami Zayn, I think, had one or two title defenses. I don't know. His reign only lasted about a couple months. It was cool to see him winning. It was crazy. It was amazing. The Kevin Owens turn was great, mainly for Kevin, but Sami was a part of it, so you gotta include him there. Top of meh, because I don't think he got a chance to really do much with it. They kind of just immediately gave it to Kevin. Speaking of Kevin, he held that title for a little bit, betrayed his friend Sami Zayn, had some good matches with Neville, Finn Balor, another match with Sami Zayn. He also appeared on the main roster and had that feud with John Cena. That was pretty good stuff. I'm going to put him... He did bring the NXT title to the main roster for a bit when he was doing that feud with Cena, so that's pretty good. It's pretty bold, pretty important. Will he be above Neville? Neville's reign was like 100 and more days longer than Owens. I think Neville had more defenses. Owens was more of like, since he was the heel, probably less defenses. Shorter reign. I'll put him under Neville. I still think Neville probably was a touch better than Kevin Owens. But we're going to move on to Finn Balor. Now, Finn, first man on this list to have 2 reigns with the NXT Championship. Let's go over the first right now. He beat Kevin Owens at Beast in the East or something like that. It was like a WWE event over in Japan. He had the demon get up, you know, all the face paint and whatnot. And he beat Kevin Owens. The streamers were flying everywhere. Pretty crazy. Then NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, I believe. He retained his title in that fantastic ladder match. Very good ladder match. I feel like somewhat of an underrated NXT ladder match. His reign would consist of... Let's see here. I'm doing all this from memory except for like the length of the reign. So, you know, bear with me. He did the Dusty Rhodes tournament thing with Samoa Joe. And Samoa Joe's like, hey, it's me, Samoa Joe. I want that title. Finn beat him a couple times. He beat him at TakeOver London, TakeOver Dallas. Joe beat him at a house show, I think. And then when Finn tried to win it back at TakeOver The End, he was unsuccessful. First loss as the Demon, which is crazy, but it was in that steel cage match. So Finn Balor's reign, while it was lengthy, I think he was like the poster child for NXT, the real like poster child for NXT. Like I feel like I saw him everywhere with that title. Like he was, yeah, that guy. So that reign alone, top of fine, bottom of great. But then we had the resurgence, the reborn Finn Balor. He went back to NXT in 2019, immediately kicked Johnny Gargano in the head, crazy stuff. But fast forward a little bit the next year where he won the NXT Championship in that Fatal 4-Way Iron Man kind of match. Balor won. I think that ring was pretty solid. Had great matches with Kyle O'Reilly. So that was pretty cool. And he just, you know, he was more of a badass Finn Balor. So yeah, that reign lasted not as long, but still over 200 days. I'd say Finn slightly better than Neville with those 2 reigns combined. Yeah, we're going to put Finn... Actually, ooh, there's a case, man. He's just because I see him as, like, the poster boy for NXT back in, like, the 2016, 2015 days when, you know, when the title was just a giant NXT. I'm going to put him bottom of best. I think the reign... I can't pick out too many memorable moments, but he was, like, an NXT icon, if that's, like, what you want to say. But we're going to move on to the man that beat him at a house show, Samoa Joe. He had a couple reigns with it. One only was like 13 days, but that's the second one. The first one, he beat Finn Balor, held it for a bit, and then lost it to Nakamura. He was a pretty okay champ. I can't really remember much from Samoa Joe's reign as NXT champion. I can't believe I'm blanking. I thought I would remember a lot of this because I was a big black and gold NXT fan, but I'm kind of blanking. Maybe this tier list sucks. Let me know if I absolutely squandered this tier list. Maybe I should have looked back and did a little bit of research. But Samoa Joe shocking house show win over Balor, wins that NXT title, beats him in the steel cage, goes on to lose to Nakamura, and then he wins it back from Nakamura, then Nakamura wins it back from him. But Samoa Joe, shorter reign than a couple of others on this list. So we're going to put him top. I think Bo had a longer reign. It probably wasn't seen by too many people, but it was probably a better overall reign. But I think more people witnessed Samoa Joe's run. Oh, he also won it for a 3rd time when he beat Kross. I almost forgot about that. That was like, what, 2021? And then how long did he hold that? 20 days, and then he was injured maybe? And then they're like, okay, bye, Joe. See ya. They released him. I don't know what that was all about. That was right before the 2.0 era, so I don't know what they were doing there. But yeah, Samoa Joe, I'm going to put him top of fine now. Shinsuke Nakamura, he beat Samoa Joe. Lost it to Samoa Joe, which was weird. I think he lost it at Toronto, I want to say. Then won it back on NXT television. I don't know. It was a weird couple of reigns for Shinsuke. He beat Joe, which was nice. And then, like I said, he lost it. But Shinsuke as NXT champion. This is the part where I kind of started falling out of NXT. It was about the Shinsuke Bobby Roode chunk of NXT. And then once Drew won it, I was like, all right, now we're back. I don't know why. I don't think Shinsuke was super great as NXT champion. I'm going to put him top of meh. Maybe I'm not. It also was because I wasn't really watching at the time. Just something about it wasn't working for me, I guess. Maybe I was caught up with something at the time. I don't know. This was years ago. So yeah, we're going to move on to Bobby Roode. He was wearing a suit. He had the glorious theme. Very nice. He would hold it for quite a bit, and he would lose it to Drew McIntyre. He defended it against Roderick Strong. I remember that. Hideo Itami. That was fine. I don't even think that main evented the show or the takeover they were on. And yeah, he did beat Shinsuke. Worked the knee. Pretty solid. He beat him at TakeOver San Antonio, I want to say. A slightly forgettable reign, I'm not going to lie. I think he had a better reign than Shinsuke. I'm going to put him top of meh. I think maybe there's a case to be made to put Bobby Roode very bottom of fine. So yeah, because as much as I kind of dropped out during his reign, I think he probably had a solid run. But now we have Drew McIntyre, which shockingly enough, I thought he was going to have a crazy run at the time. I talked about this during my, I believe it was episode 5 of the podcast, Dumb Little Wrestling Podcast, every Wednesday. Wow, go check it out. But Drew held that title for 91 days. It felt super short, but then again, NXT shows are months apart from one another besides NXT TV. And Drew beat Bobby Roode. Adam Cole made his debut, and then the Undisputed Era was formed. They didn't get the Cole and McIntyre match because McIntyre was too big compared to Cole, and they're like, oh, no, we can't have that. Now, can we? And he lost it to Andrade, which was shocking. I went to War Games 2017 live. It was very shocking to see Andrade beat McIntyre. I thought McIntyre was going to hold that for a bit longer. He just returned to NXT very quickly, kind of won that NXT title, his first takeover, I believe, and then lost his next takeover. So, that was something. So Drew, I guess I got to put him under Shinsuke. He had a longer reign than Sami, but Sami's win was more notable, I want to say. Drew's was cool, but then was a bit overshadowed by Adam Cole. So we're going to put Sami a bit above Drew. So far, nobody in bad. I mean, you could make a case for Sami being in bad because he didn't do crap. Same with McIntyre. Yeah. But they did at least something. So yeah. Now we have Aleister Black, and I hate to do this. Actually, I could put him a smidge above meh, slightly under Bobby Roode. I love... Oh, wait. It's Andrade next. We gotta give Andrade El Idolo some time to shine. He beat Drew, had a great match with Gargano at Philadelphia, then lost to Aleister Black at TakeOver New Orleans. Andrade beat McIntyre, shocking. Great match with Gargano. That was solid match. NXT TakeOver Philadelphia, I want to say. Then lost it to Aleister Black at New Orleans, 2018. I mean, I think he was a solid champion. Him with Zelina by his side was great. I'm going to put him above Robert Roode. Well, not Robert. Now Robert, but Bobby Roode is such a better name. Why the name change? I'm going to put him above Samoa Joe. Probably not great, but he did feel like NXT champion. At the time when he won it was like, whoa, I can't believe he's champion, but slowly he molded into the champion. But now we're going on back to Aleister Black. Won the title, New Orleans, cool. But then the sad thing about Aleister Black is that his title run kind of got overshadowed by the whole Gargano and Champa story. He had a match at TakeOver, maybe Chicago? Was it Chicago? I think it was, against Lars Sullivan. That match was fine, nothing crazy. And then he lost it on NXT TV to Champa after Johnny Gargano interference, and oops, I accidentally gave my arch nemesis the NXT title on accident. Uh-oh. So Aleister did not really have a good championship run, but it was okay. He definitely deserved it. He was really good. If this was just based on NXT career overall, Aleister would probably be in top of great, bottom of best. I really love Aleister Black. NXT Aleister Black was just my favorite thing in wrestling at the time, man. But we're going to put Aleister Black, we're going to put him bottom of fine. I think Roode probably had a slightly better run. Just, this is probably where my bias kicks in. I'm going to put Aleister a smidge above Bobby Roode. No offense, Bobby Roode. I'm sure your reign overall was better quality-wise, but I like Aleister Black. I like every match he's in, so that made me enjoy his reign a bit more. Now we have Tommaso Ciampa. We're putting him in the best. I think his reign, he was just like such a bastard. I'd say slightly better than Balor's combined reigns. But Ciampa also had 2. We'll get into that second one in a little bit. But he beat Aleister Black on NXT TV. He was going to have that triple threat with Gargano and Black at TakeOver Brooklyn 3, I think it was. But that match didn't come to be because Black was injured. So Gargano, Ciampa had a match at TakeOver. I believe it was Last Man Standing, I want to say. And Ciampa wins. Pretty groovy. And then beats Velveteen Dream at War Games. Pretty nice. Then Aleister Black gets his rematch at Phoenix. That match was solid. Lots of good storytelling, especially with the injured knee of Aleister Black. And Ciampa, it was a very hard-fought match. I love that match. And Ciampa won, and that's when we kind of kicked off, because earlier in the show, Gargano won the North American title off of Ricochet, and that's where we kind of were like, whoa, it's Ciampa and Gargano DIY, but they're kind of bad boys now, whoa. And then, unfortunately, Ciampa got injured, and it was going to be Gargano and Ciampa at NXT TakeOver New York. That would have been a banger. It would have been like probably the end of that big story, but that was just an unfortunate way, just wrestling is wrestling, things happen, injuries happen. So yeah, that was the end, the unfortunate end of Ciampa's NXT reign. He was injured, he had to give it up. And that would be Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole's time to shine at NXT TakeOver New York. And Johnny Gargano would win that match, and oh boy, he won it. It's another Sami Zayn situation. He won it, huge win. We love the heart and soul of NXT. But then he lost to Adam Cole. So it's another Sami Zayn thing where the moment was really cool. But yeah, the match with Adam Cole, though, was really great. And the match that he lost to Tyler was really great. So I'm going to put him a smidge above McIntyre. Maybe a smidge above Nakamura. I can't remember anything notable he did. Because, like I said, he only held it for like a month and a half. So we're going to put him top of meh. Unfortunately, a lot of these guys have like 3-month reigns where they didn't get to do too much. Like they didn't have their big takeover like title defenses. So we have Adam Cole, still I believe longest reigning NXT champion ever. Carried that sucker for a long time. Defended it against, oh god, okay, we gotta think back. He defended it against, let's see, Gargano again in that 3 Stages of Hell 2 out of 3 falls type match. And then against Pete Dunne at Survivor Series. That was great. He competed in War Games. He didn't defend the title there in 2019. He held it for a bit, but he didn't defend it on any like big NXT shows. NXT TakeOver Portland, though, him versus Ciampa is probably one of my favorite NXT TakeOver matches ever. Just NXT matches like in general. Probably top 5, if not top 5, top 3 even. I love this match. A lot of people didn't like it because it was the later, like right before the pandemic NXT, where everyone kicked out of every little thing. No matter how many finishers you got hit with, there was a chance you were probably going to kick out. But I loved Adam Cole versus Ciampa. Adam Cole didn't have a lot of big title defenses, but his run was lengthy, and he was a part of a lot of big moments. Worlds Collide, Imperium versus Undisputed Era, underrated match, doesn't get talked about enough. Survivor Series, that whole month of November, where it was like him versus Bryan. I think him versus Rollins maybe on Raw was a thing. Survivor Series against Pete Dunne, like I said. War Games. Went on a tear in the month of November, dude. I'm telling you. It's crazy. So we're going to put Adam Cole slightly above Balor. Ciampa's reign was a bit shorter, but a bit more impactful. Maybe a bit more eventful than Ciampa. Ciampa was just such a bastard heel. Like, you actually hated him. Adam Cole was like the... Like, oh, I hate Adam Cole, but I actually kind of love him because he's so cool. Look how cool he is. Adam Cole, baby. Undisputed Era, they were fun. And now we have Keith Lee. Adam Cole held that title for so long. You're like, let's just do a title unification match. It's like, I get that's like what you might come to. Oh yeah, Adam Cole also defended against Dream in that parking lot brawl thing. That happened. I don't think that was all that great. I don't think. But yeah, Great American Bash, I believe, or I think it was some kind of like Independence Day themed show. I think it was Great American Bash. Keith Lee wins the NXT Championship and retains his North American Championship. And it seems like this is the case whenever somebody wins a title. Either they lose the second title a month later, or they give it up because like, oh, I want other people to have a chance at this. Why'd you want the unify or the win the double or nothing title match anyway? What the hell? So Keith Lee gave up his North American Championship. I was a bit disappointed. I loved Keith Lee and I loved Adam Cole, but I really think Adam Cole probably should have stayed champion. They shouldn't have done the double champion thingy. Ended up not working out all that great. And Keith Lee, which by the way, on WWE's website, he's still listed as Keith Bearcat Lee, so there you go. He only held the title for a little bit before losing it to Karrion Kross. He was the new kid on the block, and they gave Karrion Kross the title almost immediately, and yeah, whatever. So while we're still on Keith Lee, very uneventful. I don't want to put him in bad, but like, it was questionable booking. I'm gonna put him under Big E, I guess. Big E did have a longer reign than Rollins. Rollins was the first. The moments were bigger for these guys, so yeah. Okay. We're moving on to Karrion Kross. Again, bias might come in. I don't like Karrion all that much. Didn't care for him in NXT. He's doing nothing on the main roster now. But he won the title, was injured in the match, had to give it up, came back and won the title off of, oh yeah, Finn Balor. Oh boy, I did not like that, even though I knew it was going to happen. I believe that was at like a stand and deliver show? Then everybody shat on him, the infamous Johnny Gargano was like, you couldn't lace my wife's boots. Adam Cole being like, you know what they do to make me feel special? They ring the freaking bell. You could make a case for probably bottom of meh. But I think Karrion Kross wasn't that good as NXT champion. That's probably because I just wasn't a fan of him. But even if I was, you can't put him like anywhere above bottom of fine. Sure, he was dominant. Sure, he was a killer. But yeah, TikTok, all that. Yeah, whatever. The presentation was cool, but it just it wasn't it. Bron Breakker had his first reign by beating Champa. Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about Ciampa's second reign. He won it during NXT 2.0's like debut, which was crazy. I thought they were gonna... I forgot who I thought they were gonna give it to, but it was cool seeing Ciampa get his baby back, Goldie. But since it was like a new NXT, it didn't feel like it. But still, it doesn't change Ciampa's like position in this tier list. Like, let's be real. What are we talking about? But yeah, we're gonna keep it going with Bron Breakker. He beat Ciampa, and then he lost it in a triple threat match. Ziggler got the pin on Ciampa and became NXT champion. Braun would win it back from Ziggler the night after WrestleMania, I want to say, on Raw. I think it was like a Raw after Mania match. Yeah, he held it for almost a full year, 361 days. Sheesh, Braun, okay. And lost it to Carmelo. He defended the title against guys like Apollo, I think. Joe Gacy, I remember he had a match there. He won the United Kingdom title. They kind of got rid of that by like blending it into the NXT title. He beat Tyler Bate. I think that was like Worlds Collide. I think that's what they did. I believe there was a match between him, Ilya Dragunov, and someone else. Was it him, Dragunov, and Carmelo? I know there was a triple threat. Or maybe it was Tyler Bate. Maybe that was the match. Either way, I know that was a crazy-ass match, even though I can't remember who the third guy was. I think it was Tyler Bate, Braun, and Ilya Dragunov. I think that's what happened. I don't know. I'm not going to do research. I wasn't really watching and paying attention much during the 2.0 days. Once it started blended into like the white and gold, I kind of started paying more attention. But Bron Breakker had a stellar run as NXT champion. It made him feel like a big deal. Sucks that he turned heel after the NXT title loss, because he kind of got stale after a bit. I thought he was kind of bland to begin with, but I did see big things in him by the way they were treating him with the long NXT title run. We're going to put him above Neville, maybe. He had some pretty great matches. More eyes on him than the Neville version, I'm pretty sure. That was only on the network. This is on USA, and has probably gained a few more fans for NXT. So no offense, Neville, but Braun Breaker probably had a bit of a better run. And now we're moving on to Dolph Ziggler. We're going to put him above Karrion. He wasn't a bad champion. It was a shocking win, and it was cool to see him hold it. He only held it for not even a month, though, like maybe just a month. He got a shocking win at Stand and Deliver. You thought, oh, the big NXT stage, Ziggler only won so Braun could get a huge moment, but they're like, no, Ziggler won. Whoa. I love that. That enough, I'd put him in meh, like very, very bottom of meh. That moment alone. You know what? I'm going to do it. That makes me seem like a huge Karrion Kross hater, which I'm not a huge hater. I just don't care for him that much. But he's like the only one that ended up in bad. I could probably shift. No, all these guys, like, them winning it was okay. Rollins and Big E are the only two I'm not sure about. So if I had another tier that said not sure, I'd put them there. Rollins, I probably couldn't put anything like anywhere near bad. Big E, I don't think had a bad run. I don't think. But yeah, I don't know. So yeah, we're moving on to the current NXT champion, Carmelo Hayes. He's held it for a bit over 100 days now, I think. He won it at Stand and Deliver against Braun Breaker, and in his nearly year-long reign, Braun turned heel. They had a match. Melo won that because he is him. And then it was Melo versus Grayson Waller. They had a fun little match. And now, gearing up for, by the time you're hearing this, tonight, we got Ilya Dragunov versus Carmelo Hayes, NXT Championship on the line. I am excited for this match, but his reign hasn't been super long, only a little over 100 days. He's good in the ring. He's done some stuff. It feels like the Judgment Day appearing recently on NXT has kind of overshadowed him a bit. He did have that match with Lone Wolf, Baron Corbin, which was cool to see. But other than that, you know, it's mainly because his reign hasn't been going on too long, but he has been doing some impressive stuff, so we can put him, for now, a smidge above Andrade. Maybe a smidge under, because I did like the way Andrade was presented, and it felt like it elevated him. Carmelo's kind of been that guy for about a year now, so even with the NXT title, it makes him feel like a slightly bigger deal, but he already was pretty huge in NXT, honestly. Top 2 for sure, tied with Bron. We'll put him top of fine. If his reign continues for, like, let's just say the end of 2023, I could see them, or I could see myself maybe shifting him up to bottom of great. But yeah. So a lot of this list might be based off nostalgia and slight bias. Notice how Alistair isn't fine when really maybe should be in meh. But hey, at least he had a takeover title defense, unlike Gargano. Like, he lost his. He had his title defense and lost. Alistair. At least he beat Lars Sullivan. At least it's something. And he had a killer match with Champa. But it's whatever. I digress, as Taz would say. But there's your NXT takeover. Not takeover. That would be a much longer tier list. But there's your tier list of every NXT champion. This video dragged on probably a bit longer. This could have stayed under 30 minutes. But it's whatever. I'm excited for NXT takeover. Fuck! No, they're not called takeovers anymore. NXT Great American Bash is tonight. This is not an ad or whatever. I'm just excited. I'm going to be there. You know, maybe if I do upload some videos and talk about it on the podcast, I'll be like, hey, if you look, there's me, oh my gosh. But with all that being said, dumb little wrestling podcast every Wednesday, some silly little video every Friday, ranked, top 10, whatever random thing I pop into my mind. And then Sunday usually is always a tier list. If not, then it's just a free day. You don't have any videos of mine to watch. So yeah, sorry for rambling and wasting your time, but I will see you whenever I see you. Goodbye.